Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Modern Skyblocks 2. So since last episode, now that we know that the update's not going to break our world, you can see up above me there's something taking shape. But I wanted to go ahead and start recording. I've spent a while building, but there's blocks that I need from today's projects that we're going to be working on. And of course it's raining. It seems like it rains and snows like all the time. Anyways, this is kind of like an entryway into our base. And I actually went ahead and lined it up with the center spawn position. Like where you spawn on the server. And I'm going to connect it over to that over time. So it's like 1,000 blocks I'm going to have to build. But I'm going to build a big bridge, and then we're probably going to do some luminizers and stuff like that around to different bases and everything. And then this is going to have water in it. I've got to run water and set all that up in fountain, like waterfall fountain type things. And in the next couple episodes, we're going to set something up to get rid of all this rain and snow. So just automatically for the server, because this rain and snow is terrible. But this cobblestone is down. Basically all the blocks are going to be placed on top of the cobble. I've set it up so that I can just go through and place the blocks on top of the cobble, and the cobble acts as kind of like a base for the blocks that go on top of it. So, and I'm going to show you guys a trick with Xtones in this pack that was very interesting, because that block right there actually requires like ender pearls to craft, and many of these blocks are a bit more expensive than what we have means for at the moment. But there's a trick with Xtones I'm going to show you guys in just a second. If we come up here, we have this big area to work with, and I haven't actually started setting up anything on this side or back in there. That's actually going to be our house, part of our house, and that's going to connect into our house proper. And if we come over to here, I did move our farms up here. So all of our farms are set up along this little edge here. And actually, while I'm up here, I'm going to harvest this coffee, because I'm spreading out coffee. A few of these crops I didn't have planted, like coffee, industrial hemp, and flax. I didn't have planted, so I don't have a whole lot of seeds for these. So I'm just kind of spreading them as they grow. But I did move those farms up here, and then over here we have, and of course it's getting covered up with snow, we have just some grass. I've got a lot of work to do on this, but like I said, one of the main blocks I need for building this, as far as the pathways and the roads and stuff like that, we're going to have to get through just a little bit of progression today. But one thing I wanted to show you guys, if I take this chisel, and let me go make a Xtone tile. And I've got like a little area set up down here, kind of like what I did with the crafting tables before with some of the other stuff. I have something similar set up down here for Xtone tiles, because I was using so many of these things, right? And at first I was like, oh man, we're going to have to like hold out or do some, like, just do the structure or something like that, because these Xtones, some of these blocks are semi-expensive. But let me grab just like 8 Xtone tiles. I keep calling it Xtone because that's the original name for it, was Xtone. But past 1.7 it was Xtones, because it was basically just like an update version. But we'll get some Xtone tiles, some Vect is what I've been making, because I have a ton of ink sacks. And then if we take this chisel, we can then chisel the Vect into any block from Xtones for building with. So it makes things like, for example, if you take a look at Vanna. This requires andesite, but for example, like Rowan, they've actually all been changed anyways. Aha! I didn't even notice, because I was just making them out of ink sacks. But I know some of these require a little bit more expensive materials, but normally Vanna requires ender pearls. Is how it used to be with Xtones anyways, or with Xtones. But anyways, looks like the cost is down a bit, but you could get things like reed blocks and stuff like that. There's no way to turn them back into sugarcane. It's just kind of a little, I guess, exploit to make building a bit easier, but especially early game like this. So, alright, but anyways, today we are going to continue on with a little bit of progression, because I want to get a few things, if we can. And over here I've got our first stack of steel. I've also got a stack of slag here. So let's go ahead, and I went ahead I was going to make some more steel, but I saved a lot of our coal coke because we're going to need it for making grout for our smeltery and stuff like that. I did, by the way, I did start tearing out some of the stuff. You may have seen the farms over here. The dirt's all torn out because I did reuse that dirt. And then that whole section there, that big structure for the drop chamber is removed as well. And a bit of the cobblestone and stuff. I'm starting to tear apart this base because this is going to be gone like completely once we get moved up there. So, alright, but the first thing that I want to get at long last is a cauldron. Aha. So let's grab that. Let's get... see, that's got space. I'm going to empty out this bucket because we're going to need it as well. And let me get a bucket of water. And I'm not for sure, what does it take to make the rock cleaner thing? The rock cleaner requires steel plates, a cauldron, and an advanced power component, which requires an advanced electronic circuit. Okay, so we're going to have to, before we can get that, we're going to have to make some of this stuff the more manual method, which is fine. So what we'll do is we'll just set up our cauldron, we're going to put some water in there, and then we need to get ourselves some stone. Oh yeah, my rock grinder. I have like a couple chests up here, because there for a while I was making so many tools, like axes and different things. And so I was just dumping, I had a tool chest up here for things like wands and whatnot, because I was making them in mass whenever I would craft them, so I just kind of stored them in a chest up here. Because those stone wands, they really don't last very long. They don't at all. But the thing is, all the builder's wands in this pack are set up so that it requires like 9 times the normal cost. So, like, the stone wand requires compressed cobblestone, the iron wand requires a block of iron, the diamond wand requires a block of diamond. Like, it's so expensive. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get just, let's get, like, 3 stacks of stone. And we're just going to compress it, just to make it a little bit easier on us. So, 21 compressed stone. By the way, we are updated right now to the 2.4.4. And in this update, Tertius alchemical dust, like the tier 3 one, has been made a bit more expensive. It does require empowered palace crystals. I mean, we're not terribly far from getting to that, but it is a little bit later than it would have been, because we could have probably started making it like this episode had the recipe not changed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to break down this compressed stone, and it's going to make a huge mess. I wonder if we're going to have enough inventory space for all this. Ah, we do. Okay. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff here. You can see we got some crushed stone. This stuff... oh, you can actually get metals out of it. That is awesome. Okay. I hadn't noticed that because I'd looked at this stuff before, but I didn't notice that you got crushed stone as well. So you get... oh, wow. You get a lot of crushed stone. It's almost 1 for 1 for the crushed stone. We can shift... it's shift right click. The cauldron, and it looks like I'm not getting much of anything as of yet. Let me grab the cauldron and let me move it over here, because we are going to be using up a bit of water in the process of doing this, but we'll be able to automate this before too long. So I'm just going to rush through. Oh, man, are we getting... we haven't gotten anything yet. Okay, well anyways, let's see, we got apatites, topaz, dark gems, lapis. That's what I really want. So we can take lapis and shift right click, and you can see we're getting items from this. And I will say this is going to be super easy to automate. Like, so good. Okay, so we got 26 lapis, and that's what I was really needing is a bit of lapis. Let's see. We also got dark gems. We got onyx, garnet, amethyst, agate, yellow garnet. Of course, these are all from Silence Gems. We got 3 dirty diamonds, a dirty emerald, 24 dirty sardis, some dirty black quartz, dirty peridot, dirty topaz. Okay, and I guess we'll go ahead and clean the diamonds as well. Yeah, we got the diamonds achievement. And we'll go ahead and clean the emerald as well. Okay, but that's the main things that I want right now. Alright, so now that we've got some lapis, now we can work on something that I need for the build. Like, absolutely need, because it's going to be one of the main blocks that I'm going to use for building, especially the exterior and stuff like that, and that is going to be Menril. I want crystallized mineral bricks, and these require blocks of crystallized mineral, which require crystallized mineral chunks or a drying basin. Crystallized mineral chunks you can get from a squeezer with mineral logs, as well as 1,000, I think, yeah, it's only a 5% chance, but you can get 1,000 millibuckets of mineral resin, which is what I want. However, to get that, and you can also get it from a squeezer. But that one requires us to jump on it, whereas the squeezer requires power. So I think that's the way that we're going to go. And we'll be able to get 1 block per piece of wood, per log. And the drying basin is just wood and iron and black powder, ink sac, whatever. Alright, so to get the mineral saplings, what we need to do is we need to do a life infusion with 4 mineral berries on a birch sapling. Mineral berries require life infusion as well. It's light blue dye on a mushroom. So really getting these mineral berries isn't going to be too difficult. It's been a little while back, a few episodes back, we got a mushroom, right? Using life infusion. And so what we're going to do is let's take that, let's get ourselves just a little bit of bone meal. And then we can use that with the lapis. So let me get like just a few pieces of dirt here. Come on. There we go. Sometimes it takes a while for those crafts to go through. And I'm going to go ahead and turn like half of that into charcoal. Alright, so there's 16 dirt. By the way, in this version, the Draconic Evolution place block feature. Place item in world. It doesn't work. Okay, it no longer works. So you can't do that with the furnace or with the combustion setup. We will be changing that setup because I'm going to have to move it before long. Won't be able to place that block back. That's fine. It's very easy to fix that. So, alright, so let's just we'll put our dirt down like right here. And we'll put down our mushroom, and then let's bone meal this thing. So let me get just a bit of that. And there we go. So we have a giant mushroom, and then it's easy enough to just kind of clean this thing up. There we go. And we now have 25 mushrooms. So we're good to go on just a few pieces of bone meal and a single mushroom, and you're good to go on making the mineral berries. So then what we'll do is we'll just combine this. I can't remember how many... okay, it's 4 light blue dye per mushroom. So let's go ahead. This makes 2 at a time. There we go. There's 16. And then we can... I'm just going to put this down right here one more time. And we'll put down our mushroom and life infusion. Did I not bring... Nope. Okay, let me head up there, because I left my life infusion tool thing up there. Okay, so we'll just put down our mushroom, and then let's get our light dye. And there we go. There's our first mineral berry. And we just need 1 more mineral berry. And then we'll be able to make our mineral sapling, because of course birch sapling, that's not a problem. So then all we have to do is put down our birch sapling and infuse that, and there we go. We got our mineral sapling. Okay, and I think I'm going to take this sapling just right up here, and we'll plant it down, because these things do require a lot of space, if I recall correctly. I think a lot of Y level space. X and Z, I think it's just a few blocks that it needs, but we're going to put it like, let's do right here. So we'll set it right there. I doubt that I can bone meal it. Oh, okay. Well, that works. You can see it's a fairly tall tree. And I do want to use these for decoration, because I think these mineral trees just look amazing. Let's go ahead and chop this thing down. And there we go. Look at all these berries. Okay. Let me put some stuff up here. I'm just going to put all this like dirty ore up, because we don't have a ton of uses for that right this second. Like all the silence gems. I mean, it'll come in handy, but let's see how many saplings. We got 6 saplings and 24 mineral berries. And we can make mineral torches with that now. And mineral stone torches. Good. Okay. Anyways, we got mineral saplings. Let's go ahead and plant some more of these things down. It's not really a big deal, because since I can bone meal it and that works, we can just keep growing them at our leisure. It's also pretty decent food. I mean, not great, but considering every tree that you chop down, you get like 24 of them. Not as good as my cactus soup, though. So, okay, so now that we have that, I want to start breaking this down. It does make a really good looking plank, though, for like, you know, if you need like a blue plank. I love the colors in this mod, like all the mineral colors, and they have stairs. Don't have slabs, but I think they can be chiseled and bitted. I do believe. Alright, so let's pop down here, and the next thing that I want to get is we're going to need a squeezer dedicated for mineral resin, and then a drying rack, drying basin, drying something. So, okay, drying basin, wood, iron, and some black dye. Oh, and by the way, these, I've got redstone on them, and that's due to the fact that if you don't put redstone on them, they'll keep consuming power. So that's why that's there. Honestly, I think we could probably just use this squeezer and have it running through all the stuff and then pumping into a drying basin. So we'll just do that. Let me get one ink sac, and then we're going to need 5 pieces of wood. There we go. And we'll get our drying basin. And we got the drying like a boss achievement. And I actually wonder, can we run this stuff? Because the bottom tier fluid ducts, they do break if you pump fluid that's too hot through them, but I don't think that this stuff would classify as being too hot. I think that's mainly for like molten liquids and stuff like that. So let's try this. And what we're going to do is we are going to release that redstone. Let's put some mineral logs in here. And there is like a 5% chance that we're going to get mineral chunks, which we can use to make mineral blocks as well. Let's see, we're about to hit 10,000 mineral resin right now. So let's put our fluid duct like just right here on the front, and then have it connecting into a drying basin. Let's see, we're going to need a servo, right? How much do servos cost? Glass, iron nuggets, iron, and redstone. Okay, we can pull that off. So there's some iron nuggets, and there is our servo. And then we can just put the servo right here, and we're going to say that you ignore redstone, and it's going to start pumping out that resin. It's going to start running. Oops, I didn't want to put that in there. Okay, and then it's going to take a little while for that resin block to solidify, and you can see it goes ahead and dumps another bit of resin in there. And so then what I want to do is let's make a drawer. And this will get moved probably by next episode. As I get things situated and get things moved upstairs, of course. But let's go ahead and just make ourselves a drawer. And we're going to use this to store our mineral. And then we'll go ahead and just get a transfer node, and we'll put the transfer node on here, and then, alright, let's go ahead and just get ourselves some transfer pipes. It looks like I'm out of them. I think I used all of them up, I suppose. So there we go. And we'll just plug that in, and that's going to start pumping those blocks out for us. Alright, so let's grab some of these. And we're just going to put these down. I'm not going to do a ton of building right this second, but we're also going to have these chunks building up, but it's really slow. So honestly, I'm probably not going to worry too much about it. Let me go ahead and shut that off. So that quits consuming power. And let's see, we've got 26 blocks of crystallized mineral at the moment, which makes 26 crystallized mineral blocks. And we'll go put these down. I think using this block, like, early on, it's a little bit, I guess it's kind of expensive. It uses a little bit of power and some time and some wood and all that stuff, but I think it's going to be worth it. Honestly, I think this block's going to look really good. So, and I may change up some of these blocks that are here. This isn't all set in stone. This is just something to kind of work with and kind of build from there. So, just a heads up, but that's what they look like. I love this tint of blue. Like a really calm kind of blue, and it really contrasts well with darker colors, I think. So, that's the block I'm wanting to go with for building a lot of this. Like, especially the pathways is the main thing I want to use it for, but I am going to need a lot of them because I need to run an 1,000 block bridge all the way back to center spawn. So it's going to take a fair few of those blocks. But I'm going to start with the base, and then we'll do that bridge a little bit later on when resources aren't so much of an issue. And I actually just noticed that the advanced electronic circuits also require empowered Palace and empowered Restonia. That was changed because I remember looking at those and I was like, we're about to be able to make those like in 2.4.2 because it just required lapis and redstone and then some electrum. Oh, and alubrass, but that's fine. Anyways, I went ahead and I cut down some more of those trees. We got 18, and then There's a chance that when you cut down trees, there's a very good chance that you'll get some chunks as well. So you do get a little bit of extra production from that, for making these. But now we have 250 blocks of that. Chop down a few trees, and so then, I mean, it's not too difficult to get started building that out. Now, I will say that in an upcoming episode, we're going to make like a small little factory setup for this, so it's a lot faster. But right now, that'll work just so I can start getting some of the pathways put down and everything. Alright, so I've got some steel running, but the next thing that I want to do is let's get ourselves an engineer's manual first up. So this requires a book and some paper. And we can make, of course, we can make books out of blank patterns. So let's go ahead and make some blank patterns. And we're going to start getting into just a little bit of Tinker's Constructs today, as well as upgrade our condenser. I'm not too worried about our combustion setup. I'm not too worried about upgrading that to steel in any kind of a rush. But I do want to get the condenser upgraded, because it is going to be a little while before we can start getting into manualing, because it requires us to go through actually additions before we can do that. So let's go ahead and actually get just a few more of these, and we can get paper with that. Oops, there we go. Lay that out, lay this out, that. There's our book, and there's our engineer's manual. Okay, so what I want to go for next up is the crusher. Now, we'll say that next episode, we're going to be doing a bit of infrastructure stuff, working with power. We're going to be upgrading our power system into wind power, a little bit of that, and getting that going and everything. But, okay, so we are going to need, and this is going to be probably a little bit expensive at this point, but in total, we're going to need 10 steel scaffolds, 1 redstone engineering block, 10 light engineering blocks, 8 steel fences, and 9 hoppers. Now, I do have some hoppers over here that I'm going to steal. 4 of those from when we had the drop shaft system, because we're not using that anymore. So then we just need 5 more hoppers, and then in addition we are going to need steel scaffolding, 10 of these, and these craft 6 at a time and just require some steel ingots and some steel rods. I still find it weird that that recipe, like the steel rod recipe, you can run it through the metal press. It's never more efficient though. There's never really a point to do that. So let's go ahead and get like 3 crafts, and we'll get this laid out. Actually, I didn't need that many, did I? Well, there's 12 steel scaffolds. And let me go dump out my inventory real quick. Okay, and then let's go ahead and get our hoppers. We'll go ahead and knock that part out. So we're going to need altogether 5 more hoppers. And let me get just a bit more iron over here. Alright, so there is our 9 hoppers. And then we're going to need 10 light engineering blocks. So let's take a look at those. And then 1 of these are redstone engineering blocks. The redstone one is just copper, and some redstone is going to get us 2 of those. So let me go ahead and craft that. So redstone engineering block, there we go. And I'm putting away any extras that we get. And then for the light engineering block, we are going to need iron mechanical components and more copper. And we're going to need 10 of these. So iron mechanical components, that's a bunch of plates that we're going to have to make. It looks like 40 iron plates that we're going to have to get. So I'm going to go ahead and get that running. It's going to take a little while. And we're also going to need... Oh yeah, we're going to need steel fences, aren't we? What, 6 of these? 8 of these? Okay, so now we're really just waiting on this to make the iron mechanical components. It's going to take a little while. So while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and take a look at upgrading our condenser. So we are going... Let's see. I think the new casing is an upgrade, isn't it? The current one that we're using is bronze. It's 140. Steel is... Yeah, steel's 170. Okay, so we're going to make a steel casing. Requires 4 steel rods and then a steel gear. No problem. So there's our steel gear, and then we need 4 steel rods. And there's our steel casing. And then for our condenser, this is a definite upgrade. We're going to need to get ourselves a steel alchemy component, which requires Secundus alchemical dust. And we should have plenty of that on hand. So we'll just snag a piece of that. And steel alchemy component, there we go. And then we're also going to need a frozen iron cooling unit. This requires that frozen iron that we made last episode, some glowstone, and some lapis. Alright, so I'm going to get some glowstone real quick. There we go. That stuff's like pretty cheap at this point. And then we can get our steel condenser. There we go. And then the frozen iron cooling component, and now we can get our steel condenser. Okay. So that is done. Now we can go upgrade from this bronze one. And I don't think there's anything really in here that we're going to need to keep. So I'm just going to go ahead and break it off. Well, actually, it'll just go in here, right? Yeah. I'll leave it there for the time being. And then we'll throw down that. And now you can see that our speed has jumped up to 140%. And our efficiency production is now at 289%. So we are definitely getting there. And let's see how our plates are coming along. Oops. We're about halfway. Okay, so I'll be back in just a minute once that gets done, because I think that's one of the first blocks that we're going to need for laying that out. So I will be back in a minute. Okay, so our plates are done. I spent some time working up there with the Menril and everything. So our light engineering blocks, our iron mechanical components, there is 10 of those. And then we can get, what do we need? Iron, okay. Iron and probably a little bit of copper as well. And I will say that the next few episodes, we're going to be doing a lot of factorization type stuff, like getting some automation and whatnot set up. I mean, technically, we're at the point now where we could rush onwards to Britannia, and we could rush onwards to actual editions. I'm not in any kind of rush to get into those, because we're at the point now where I wanted to get to, that we've got the resources to actually start automating some stuff, and I would like to do that at the moment before we progress, because otherwise it's just going to stay a mess and whatnot. So, okay, so we've got the stuff for the crusher now. Before we go up there, there's one other thing that I want to get, and this requires just a bit of treated wood planks. And really, I could set this up to pull the creosote out automatically. I just don't have any big liquid storage set up right now. We will be doing that possibly next episode, because I would like to get this stuff running a little bit better. Granted, I could just do a fluid trash can, but I don't know. We can also use this creosote for power, and that's kind of what I'm thinking, is we'll use a bit of it for power production, like overflow. Okay, so there's a fair few treated wood planks. And then we're going to go ahead, this is a bug that happens. Let's go ahead and make ourselves just a bunch of these treated wood sticks. I'll go with like 40. And what I would like to make right now is a windmill. This requires windmill blades and iron. It's super cheap. So let's go ahead and get 8 of these, and I will probably end up making more of these between this episode and next, as well as moving this one. This is a temporary setup just so we can get the crusher up and going this episode, so we can start making grout. But I do have plans to build out an actual like windmill setup, like that looks good. It's not going to really change how well it runs or anything like that, but I would like to have some windmills up here, kind of in like the farm type areas. Now, I will say that it's not going to just be farms up in these like side sections. I am planning on, it's going to be more like a just big, massive open garden type area with like hedges and things like that. So, because we're going to have this area out here, and I'm going to try to keep the farms to a minimum out here, actually, just for looks more than anything. And then we'll have our house back in here, where a lot of our automation stuff will be done. We'll also end up putting bees out here as well, but that's fine. So for right now, I think we're going to set up the crusher. We're just going to have it setting like right here. That's fine. It's a temporary spot, so this will work. So we'll start with the light engineering blocks, and then we'll do the scaffolding. These are like all bugging out here, just like that. And then, all right, and then next up, let's go with that, and is it? Okay, it's right there. And then steel fences around this block, like that. And then redstone engineering right there. And then we just have to put hoppers just right along the top like that. And then that should be everything. So let me go grab my hammer, and there's one other block that we're going to need, and that's the block that we're going to be pulling power out of the windmill with. The kinetic dynamo. Okay, so copper coil blocks, LV wire coil, that's copper wire, shears with a copper plate to get those, and that's 1 for 1. I'm just going to go ahead and do like a half stack of gears for right now, or plates, I mean. Alright, so let's go ahead and make ourselves just some normal shears. And we only need 8 copper plates for the kinetic dynamo. I went ahead and ran more because we're going to be doing some power with water and some other windmills and stuff like that. So I figure might as well go ahead and get some plates being made. Probably end up making a full stack or 2 between episodes. But alright, so what we can do is we can take our shears and cut these copper plates down into copper wire. And then does it take normal sticks or treated sticks? Okay, it does take treated sticks. That's fine. So there's 4 LV wire coil, and then we can get our other 4 LV wire, and then our copper coil block, and then our kinetic dynamo. Okay, we are about to be in business. Now, like I said, I will build out a little structure. I kind of have a structure in mind, and I think we've got everything to build it. I just kind of want like some windmills up here because I love the motion. And I love seeing immersive engineering running. Like, it's just good. And then what we'll probably do is I'm going to have, like, some columns and stuff around in this area. And then I'll probably run the power over. Maybe with immersive engineering. It's very, very possible. Like, from the windmills and the water wheels and all that stuff. And we're ready to get this thing set up. And I figure we'll just run it with wind power for right now. Really, I only need this for a minute just to get the initial grout that we need to get our smeltery up and going. And what we're going to do, I think we can just use the insulated copper wire. So we'll just run this up just a little ways. We've got plenty of flat space there for this to get good power off of. So we'll just set our kinetic dynamo like up here and then put the windmill down. And there we go. We got windmill for the land achievement. And that thing should start running. There we go. So it's producing power right now. The power is just going into the crusher so that we can run the crusher. So then what I want to do is let's turn our attention over to take a look at grout real quick. This stuff, I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but what I want to do today is I want to get it set up so that we can start making seared bricks through our smeltery, and then we'll expand the smeltery. I'll expand the smeltery between episodes. And then we can make tools next episode. Let's see. What does it take to make seared bricks? It's just 4 seared bricks. Okay, is all the... I'm curious to see, is all the stuff pretty standard? It's all standard recipes for the smeltery stuff. Okay, that is awesome. That is, in fact, awesome. So I think our first order of business, let's go ahead and just get some lava being produced. So, blaze powder block. I'm so ready to get a bucket, and we're still a little ways off from a bucket. It'll be a little while before we get a real bucket, because it's not until rolling machine. So, and that takes those advanced circuits, so we're going to have to get through actually additions. But okay, so to make grout, it's just a combination of clay, gravel, sand, and coke dust. So that's why I've been holding on to this coal coke right here. Let's go ahead and grab that. And I think we're going to start with like a half stack. So let's take our half stack of coal coke, and we'll just throw it in there so it can start grinding up that coal coke and getting us some coke dust. And it's somewhat of a noisy process. I actually love the way the immersive engineering stuff sounds, though. Like immersive engineering and mechanism both. Like, I love it. Okay, so we've got everything now to get our grout. So there is a stack of grout once it crafts. Okay, and then I'm going to get that smelting up and making our first bit of seared bricks for us. I'll be back in a minute once that's done smelting. Okay, so we're just going to do like a very small smeltery to get started with. And so I'm going to start with a chest. And then let me go ahead and get... It's snowing again. It snows constantly. I'm so ready. That's one thing we might get into a little bit of a Tanya, just far enough to get this stuff to stop. Snow and the rain and all that stuff. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to make is going to be a casting basin. And we'll just put that right there. And then what I want is, let's get seared brick right there. And we're doing like a 1x1 to start with, I think. We might be able to go a little bit larger. I'm just going to make everything and see. Smeltery controller, and then let's get a tank. Or seared gauge, any kind of tank works. And then we're also going to need to get a drain and a faucet. And I guess I could have went with like a liquid servo, but no, I think it would break. I don't know. Anyways, we'll just use a faucet for right now. It's fine. And then that's pretty much everything. So then I'm just going to go ahead and make some more seared bricks. And we'll use these to make as large of a smeltery as we can for the time being. So first thing, let's place down our drain. We'll put that right here. We'll put our faucet feeding into the casting basin. And then we're going to put a controller down. We'll put it just like right here. And then we'll put our seared gauge like right here. I think we've got enough to do like maybe a 2x2. Yeah, just enough for a 2x2. So we'll do that. So there is our smeltery. Oh, the only thing is the snow is going to be a problem, isn't it? I'll just put some cobble over the top for right now. This will be inside probably by next episode, like inside of our building. Okay, and then what we can do is, let's go ahead and just compress a piece of cobble. We'll throw that in there. And then let me give it just a little bit of lava. Oh, actually it won't smelt. Never mind. So what I may do is end up making a hopper or something feeding this, and this will be a fairly slow process at first, but it will get faster as I get seared bricks. Now one other thing that I would like to get is going to be a redstone clock. So right here, we'll go ahead and just grab that. And what I want to do is, let's just put this, like, we'll put it right there. There we go. Okay, so 4 pieces of cobble should make us our first piece of seared stone. There we go. So it's going to be a little bit of a process, but that's fine. But it's a lot cheaper than having to use coal coke for every like two bricks. And then we'll go ahead and just set up a hopper feeding into the controller, and we can just fill it full of cobblestone. So it's going to feed in cobblestone to this. It's going to smelt it down. It's going to make us bricks. And then after a while I can upgrade the size of the smelter and everything. So, but anyways, I know it's wrapping up point, so I'm going to go ahead and end this episode out here. Next episode, like I said, we're going to do a little bit with Tinker's Constructs and maybe make our first tools. Looks like the snow is stopping up this windmill. It's the worst thing about living in extreme hills. It's going to snow like all the time. There we go. Yeah, snow builds up on the top of it and then it won't run. So, fun stuff. But we'll do a little bit with Tinker's Constructs, and then we're probably going to start a little bit of factorization stuff. And I may go ahead and move on to getting the Terra Bozu from Britannia. Just basic start of Britannia stuff to make it. We will have to get an alchemy catalyst, though, now that I think about it, but that's fine, because we're going to have to get sunflowers, but that shouldn't be too difficult. And that way we can go ahead and automate the Terra Bozu with a very, very simple automation setup. And that way, anytime that it rains or snows, it'll shut off. So, it's kind of what I'm thinking. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos come out. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.